hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean, yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and today I have flamingo Dollar Tree DIYs for you. I think I counted 16 of them, so let's get started. I wanted to do something fun with these two pink flamingos that I picked up at Dollar Tree the other day. So we're going to use one of these large wreath forms. This is the 18-inch from Dollar Tree. Some Dollar Tree zip ties and some Dollar Tree lays. I picked the pink and white flowers because I didn't really want the yellow. Some of them have like a yellow center in there. I really just wanted the pink and white colors. And I wanted to make a really nice large wreath for my front door for summer. So I thought zip ties would be the easiest way to do it. And we can zip tie the lays on. I bought a total of 5 of these, but I only ended up needing 4. And, you know, that's a pretty big wreath form. So I kind of just want to, instead of wrapping it, just string it around the circles that are already on the wreath, right? And so I start by stringing them together. So I cut this one in half, and then I'm careful to hold one end of it, but you're going to have to sacrifice a few of the flowers on there. But I am just tying off one end so that it does not fall apart on me. I didn't think the string on there would be quite strong enough, so I did tie a little twine on the end too, and that seemed to help. Because I want to take all 4 of these lays and string them all together. Now, when you cut them apart, you have 2 ends. You're going to have to, take some flowers off so that you have enough string to tie them together. I did notice after I was done, there were some places, where they had tied the lay that might have a little bit more string available. So you could look for that part when you're cutting it too. But I'm just cutting them, tying them together, making sure they still have like that little white plastic spacer piece in between them, so they'll stay properly spaced. But I definitely don't want to restring these. I want to kind of use the original structure as much as I can. And I want to make a really large, like pink and white, like floral, tropical wreath, and then decorate it with those little plastic pink flamingos. And I do have a couple of wreath ideas for you today. We're going to be doing wreaths, front porch. We're going to be doing tier tray DIYs, all kinds of stuff today. So I tied some twine on the end of this end too to make sure that it stays. That is all 4. And I went back and counted to make sure, because I wanted to make sure that you had enough if you were going to buy some for this. Now I just take a zip tie, and on the first one I just kind of zip tie it at the end of a section there. No real plan on that one. But on the next one, I wait till I get past the next crossbar. We're doing the outer one first here. And then I zip tie it there. That'll keep it in place. And so I continue doing that all the way around the outer circle on there. I kind of feel where one of those little white plastic pieces would be and make sure it is past the little crossbar. That way with just tension, it's going to kind of keep it in place. And just doing one section at a time, so you still get that nice round shape, even though I'm like not wiring it to it or anything. And I think zip tie is probably the easiest way to do that. I did use some wire on my other wreath I do today, and I think zip ties are always the easier way. So for this second row, you're actually going to have a crossbar because it kind of comes to a T, right? So I took advantage of that, and I just zip tied to the crossbar for the second row. And I do that all the way across, not all of them. And that will totally keep that one in place. And again, just kind of, feeling for the next white bar, not stretching it or anything like that. But, it's a little flexible, like which way. You can have a little slack in it. And since it's supposed to be like that circle shape, it's still going to look good. So I do that all the way around the second row, and it's starting to look fuller. And then we can go in and start working on this third row. Now this is kind of like the outer circle that I did, where I just kind of go past the little crossbar and do the zip tie there to keep it in place. And then I was really excited to see that 4 of these lays was actually perfect. Like it went around all 3 of the rows of the wreath and ended up at a perfect spot. I didn't have to cut it or anything. And I'm not going to add like a hanger or anything to this. I'm kind of just use the structure of the wreath form for that. But if you needed one, it would be simple enough to add a hanger to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted my packages to make sure. And I have 1 extra to do something else with. Now, these are just the Dollar Tree pink flamingos. I love these. I have to buy them every year when I see them. And I got 2. I got 1 for each side. I thought 1 kind of up, 1 kind of down would be great. But I want to kind of give them a makeover, of course. They do have holes here in their necks where the legs were sticking out. And so I just go in with spackle first just to fill that up because I was afraid you would be able to see that. The holes for the legs, I ended up using that for a little bit of structure. But they're pink and they're cute. But I just decided to grab all of my pinks. No rhyme or reason. I just wanted different shades of pink. And I wanted to see if I could paint these to make them just look a little bit better. They have an amazing texture on them. But, you know, most flamingos have like all different kinds of shades of pink in their feathers and stuff like that. So I'm just distressing with a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree, and I really want to do one side on that one, but I also kind of wrap it around the back a little bit just because I don't want it to be obvious. The back is just plain pink. And then I do the same thing here on the other one. And this color was like salmon, I believe, and it looked really nice combined with that pink color. I'm going to paint the beaks on these too. I wanted these little flamingos to look like American flamingos, the kind that we used to have in Florida. Every now and then people still spot them. I would love to be one of those people that spot them. We used to go to Ding Darling over in Sanibel, and somebody had spotted them there when we'd went one time, and I was so excited. I wanted to catch one so bad and spy a flamingo. That would be so exciting. They're like my favorite. The only thing I see that's pink around here though is the roseate spoonbills, but I love those too. And so I just keep going in with different colors, just distressing a little bit here and there. And then the American flamingo does not have like the orange part of the beak. They have like a light pink and white and then the black part. And I thought that might look better with my all pink wreath. Make them a little bit less colorful with that orange yellow beak. So I just paint that part like my lightest color of pink that I could find. And now for the eyes. I thought the eyes were a little bit undersized on these. And so I'm going to try to fix that with a little bit of paint. First, I decided to go in with a white paint pen. I wasn't thrilled with how that was working though. So I do go back with just some white acrylic and a tiny brush. I found that to be a little bit easier. And I just fill in the entire eye socket, and then the original eye, I can just kind of make the pupil of the eye, and that worked way better. So painted those white, and now we need a little black. I also need to add black to the tip of the beaks. So, you know, this one's like about 1/3 of the bottom of the beak. I just paint that black all the way around. And I think they look cool like this. I mean, you could also add a little bit of the white above that too. But just an easy little makeover. When I turn them over to the other side of pink, you can really tell the different shades on this side. It looks really cool. And then just a little dot for the eye on both sides. And I think those look really cool. Now I just have to figure out a way to try to attach these plastic flamingos to the wreath. They already have the 2 holes in the bottom, 4 legs, so I thought some wire might work. This is that black wire from the hardware section at Dollar Tree. And it's a pretty thin wire, and this was not the easiest. Trying to get it like one hole over to the other one. It might be easier to like use like a needle and twine or something like that. I don't know. I mean, on the other wreath I'm gonna do, I do it with twine, but I thought wire might be a little bit sturdier since this is gonna be on my front door. But I try at first just to attach my flamingos to the wreath form with just the bottom one. I do have to go back and add a little bit more reinforcement to that, but what I do is I just kind of tie it around like the middle wire of the wreath form where I want it to be. And this wire is so thin that you can kind of just tie it like literally in a knot like that, right? And kind of push the excess wire to the back out of the way and make sure that is wired tightly to it. And then I go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Now I get 2 flamingos that are kind of attached at the bottom, but they're not really attached at the top. So I figured that worked good though, so maybe I could just poke some holes in it. These little plastic flamingos from the Dollar Tree are really thin, and so I don't even know what this tool is called, but I got it at the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree, and it's got these like little metal balls on the end of it, and I found that was perfect. I just pushed it like literally through the plastic, 2 holes next to each other, similar to the holes before. And then I have to try my best to string the wire through this as well. It's harder than you think it would be, but it did work. And then I'm gonna wire that to the middle wire like I did before and twist it on the back to make sure that is nice and tight. And I don't think that these little flamingos are gonna be going anywhere. I just love the colors on this. It's so pretty. My husband said, "Oh, that's really pink." And my son was like, "Oh, it is so pink. It's wonderful." So I love pink, so I think it's wonderful. So I just poked a couple holes here on the other side too. And then I'm gonna wire this one to this side. So I do have one, a little higher than the other side, but otherwise, just one on each side. And I was actually at like an antique mall today, and I found a bunch of pink flamingos, and I'm like, oh, they have different sizes pink flamingos. They had like larger ones, smaller ones, and they were so expensive compared to $1.25 for these from the Dollar Tree, and they're a good size too. And putting them on a wreath like this is super fun and whimsical. You don't have to worry about the legs at all, but I thought it needed a little bit more fun, more tropical vibe, right? So I found this hibiscus garland at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna pick 3 of the bright pink flowers off. These are so pretty, and I have hibiscus in my front yard. I have yellow ones, so this is gonna be a nice contrast. I love the hibiscus trees. Even when I lived in colder areas of the country, I always tried to at least have those, bring them inside in the winter, but I love being able to have them outside here too. And then this is just a greenery that I picked up at Dollar Tree too. It's like a fern, right? Like a garland. And so I'm just pulling the leaves off and just kind of gluing those. I thought we would need maybe 2 or 3 going out in each direction. And I like to work with odd numbers, so I'm going to do like 3 of the hibiscus flowers. And I'm just kind of focusing on this side over here underneath this flamingo. And I decided I needed a few more ferns, so I'm going to go back and add like 1 more to each side. And I'm just using hot glue for this step. But I think it's so tropical. This would be great for summer, which is what I'm using it for. It would also be great for like a luau party or whatever you've got going on this summer. I need to do a luau video. Some of my luau DIYs are some of y'all's favorite DIYs, and they're so fun to do. So this is it, our little pink flamingo wreath. I think it just screams fun. It screams summer. I think it's really pretty. What do you guys think about my first flamingo DIY? My son said that he thought I should do the flamingos with like a hotter pink color, but I told him I didn't on purpose because I kind of didn't want them to blend in with the wreath. I kind of wanted them to stand out a little bit, and I think they do. I think it's so sweet. Okay, next DIY. I wanted to see if I could get creative with these little paper cutouts of flamingos that they have in the summer section at Dollar Tree right now. So I grabbed a Dollar Tree chalkboard. You guys know I love those, and some of those paper cutouts. Now, painting over this design is not always the most fun, but I thought that if we used some of this removable wallpaper from the Dollar Tree, my favorite pattern, the tropical pattern, right? Peel off the backing and peel and stick. And it's so thick that you can't see any of that writing through there, and completely covers the back. Such a quick, easy hack for a Dollar Tree sign. And then you don't even have to cut the edges. If you use one of the little Dollar Tree sanding blocks and just sand several times on the sides, it is thick. It will cut right through that, and you'll get a perfect cut on all four sides of your sign. And I love these chalkboard signs because they're thick, they don't bow very much, and I find they make really great DIY signs. Now I am just kind of poking a hole through the wallpaper with a Cricut weeder so that I can put a hanger back on there. And I'm just going to use some twine, stringing that in from the back and knotting it in the front. And we have the perfect start for a little tropical sign for summer. I wanted to do like something flamingo, something kind of party, something fun, tropical. And so I thought we could do something with that. This background just screams tropical, right? I love it. And have you noticed they have different patterns of this now? I got some the other day that I think has like eucalyptus on it, maybe. But I was really excited to see new styles as well, even though this is always my favorite. So these are little paper cutouts they have, and I'm going to show you several things today that you can do with these. Kind of unexpected things too, right? So look how this one here, perfect size for the sign. It's a little flamingo standing on one leg, and basically they're cardstock. So they're really thick, really easy to work with. I'm going to Mod Podge mine on just by doing a coat of Mod Podge on the back, and then just laying it down on top of that tropical wallpaper. Trying to make sure that it is flat and smooth. And don't worry about getting any Mod Podge on the top. I am going to Mod Podge the top too, so it's not going to matter. So I go over the whole sign though with that matte Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree, just because I don't want some areas to be shiny and some areas not. And I want to seal that to the sign so it's not going to go anywhere. And honestly, it looks really cute just like that, but I thought we could take it up a notch. So I grabbed one of these luau skirts from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter if you have like the adult or the kid size. I have the adult one, I think, because we're going to cut it, because I thought it would be really fun to do like a little grass skirt for the flamingo. I thought that would be so fun. I was just trying to have to figure out how I can pull it off. So I kind of play around with it. I push them all like close together on the twine so it's nice and thick. And then I just kind of cut it down to size like that. Make a little grass skirt, but of course it's really long, right? So we will cut that up. I'm just kind of trying to figure out the height or the width on it. So I kind of fold it in half, grab it all together, and do an initial cut here for a little grass skirt. And I don't know why, I just had this idea, it just kind of came to me, and I thought it would be really funny. And it's like, okay, how would a flamingo wear a skirt? Like, where would its waist be? How am I going to pull this off? And then I decided I thought it made it a little bit too wide, so I did shorten mine a little bit, because I really want it to fit on my sign and not really hang off. And I also trimmed down the length a little bit too, because I thought it was a little long. I wanted you to still be able to see the little flamingo leg. And then I just attach it with hot glue on both sides. I don't really knot the ends of it because I don't really want that to stick out at all. I just glue it straight across the little flamingo and then just cut off any excess twine. I think the hot glue will keep it in place. And just kind of, you know, combing it down, trying to make it look a little bit straighter. And then I thought we'd use some of these Scrabble letters from the Dollar Tree to spell out a message. I found a ton of these the other day at my Dollar Tree and I was so excited. I always pick them up because I think they're such a great deal. And I thought we could spell out like hello summer on there. I thought that would be fun. So I went through and found all the letters to spell that out. And I thought this would be a really fun, sign to celebrate the beginning of summer. If you wanted to use yours year round, you can put whatever you want on there. But I think this is going to fit nicely. I don't have a lot of room to work up here, but a little bit. And then I glue summer straight across. I thought with the word hello, we could do something a little bit more fun, maybe make some of them higher, some of them lower. I do kind of space them out where they're like halfway in between the letter below them. So they're still evenly spaced, but a little bit of fun. Going up and down there, and it says hello summer, and this is this DIY. It was so easy to make and so fun. And this would be great for, your entryway, for summer, anywhere you could use this. Even in your office cubicle, you could use it for a party. So cute and festival with a little grass skirt. I love it. And look how easy that was to make with a few items from the Dollar Tree. Hello, summer. I'm ready for you. I think it's definitely began. Okay, the next one, I'm going to use a couple of these wall shelves from the Dollar Tree. And these are like the thicker wood ones that are real thin. And the reason I'm using these is because it's going to make a nice skinny sign if I put the two together. And flamingos are kind of tall and skinny. I wanted to do a fun little flamingo sign on this. Another option where you can use those little flamingo cardboard cutouts. Now, they have all these ropes and holes on there because these are actually shelves. And I am going to use the holes on the top actually for a hanger. That's fine. I can save some of that rope for the hanger. The rest of them I will kind of disguise a little bit as I can. And so I string that through and then just use a bead of hot glue to connect the two shelves together. These are never bowed. They're super thick and so easy to put together. I don't have to brace it or anything. I just feed the rope through the back on the other side and tie that off to make a nice little hanger on there. And we'll kind of disguise all the other holes in there as we go, but I wanted to make a really fun flamingo project with this. So again, we're using those little paper cutouts. There's different ones. The legs are doing different things. There's this one, which is really cute, but it was a little bit wider than this one. So I did decide to go with this one, which I think is the same exact one that I used on my last one too. There was more than one in there. And I wanted to make just a fun little flamingo feather sign where the flamingo feathers are those little wood slices that you see there from the Dollar Tree. So first I cut off the legs there. And I'm just going to attach that strategically to cover up the holes in the sign. Why not? And you can hot glue this cardstock from the Dollar Tree. It's nice and thick. I also cut off the neck and then use the body that we're not going to use as reference so I'll know where to glue down the head and the neck of the flamingo. Then I want to go in and fill up the body of the flamingo with these. I thought these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree would make perfect feathers. They got that kind of feathery shaped. And I thought we could do something fun and driftwood for a flamingo. So it's just kind of a matter of putting it together and kind of making it work. I know the general shape of the flamingo body. So I kind of do the back feathers first, kind of making sure they're all going the same direction, kind of veering out like that. And a row of 3 I think is going to be plenty big. And then we can start gluing on a second row. For the second row, I am overlapping them so they'll kind of stick out a little bit like feathers by gluing both ends, one to the sign, one to the little wood slice behind it. And then I need to do another row here. I was trying to decide if I needed one more row or 2 more rows to finish this out. And I did decide to add 2 more rows. I wanted it to be a little bit fuller. So, it's kind of like a puzzle. You gotta have to figure out what you want to do with it and what's going to fit where they're slightly different sizes and stuff like that. I'm just kind of making sure they're all going the same direction, hot gluing those down. And then, I want this part to be smaller here, so I'm only going to use 2 of them. And that's going to overlap with the neck part of the flamingo. And I think those look really good. Now, I don't want to leave them wood. The background is just plain wood. So I thought we could decorate this up a little bit. Now, this also came with these little palm leaves in that same package of flamingo decorations. So I tried to find one that would kind of fit on there. Just as, you know, as decoration for the back and to cover the hole and kind of cover up some of that extra space there. So I hot glued that down as well. That's just going to be a fun little background. You could also use that tropical wallpaper that we used from the other DIY behind this. It would be really cute too. Then for the other two holes that you could still see, I used some of the excess rope from the shelves and just knot it, string it along the back and knot it again, just so you don't have empty holes on your sign. Now for the wood slices, I did want to paint those, and so I'm going to use just a couple of colors and a chunky brush, and I'm just going to like kind of just dabble this on. This is the salmon color acrylic paint, and I want some of the wood to show through, but I want a little bit of it to be pink. And then I put that light pink that we used before on the plastic flamingos, and I do the same thing with that, just kind of alternating in and there. It's going to make it look kind of multi-dimensional. I do want some of the wood to show through, but I want it to be mostly pink, like a flamingo. And this was really easy to make, but I think it turned out so cute. I love a good driftwood project. So there's another idea for a flamingo DIY using those little cardboard cutouts. I think they're so pretty. So everything was from the Dollar Tree. If you see those wood slices, they come in like 3 different varieties now. Pick them up because there's so many things that you can do with them. I see things all the time at high-end stores, driftwood projects made out of those, and you can just make just about anything with them, and they look great for coastal DIY. So there's our little driftwood flamingo. I wanted to take a quick moment and tell you about my Facebook group. I have it linked below. You're going to love seeing how creative all the other crafty beach bums are. I also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube, and I would love to see you over on any of those platforms. Okay, I told you we were going to have another flamingo wreath, so I want to show you the other flamingo wreath that I did. This one is going to be a fern. So instead of the leis, we're going to use the Dollar Tree ferns on this one. But it's basically the same wreath form. It is the large 18-inch wreath form. Now I noticed that all these ferns from the Dollar Tree, like they kind of consist of like different kinds of leaves. And so when I'm taking mine apart, I just kind of sort them out. That way I can like alternate them when I go to build this. I want it to look big and tropical, and I want to use a pink flamingo on this one as well. So I just go ahead and sort them all out. It took quite a few of these to cover the entire sign. Now, I thought I would just put like, you know, a bundle at a time. So do like 3 at a time, choose some different ones and zip tie that to the wreath form. I'm using those little smaller black zip ties on this one. And I wasn't sure how sturdy this was going to be, because it's kind of awkward. The leaves are really long and I'm only zip tying it here at the base. But I am going to use some of that floral wire that you see there from the Dollar Tree to kind of help shape this up a little bit in the end, because I want the leaves to stay in that like circular pattern to make it really look like a wreath. And so I just keep taking one bundle at a time and then zip tying that, just overlapping with the leaves behind it. Really no rhyme, no reason, except I'm just doing a bundle at a time. And that's definitely a great idea because you're going to get 3 times the coverage, but only 1 times the work there. And so I do that all the way around. And this one turned out really cute too. It's going to give you like a totally different vibe than the lei one. Out of the 2, I think I prefer the lei one the best, but maybe because that is my newest one and I'm getting ready to hang it on my front door actually tomorrow, I think. And so I just kind of fill it all the way in like that. I think that looks pretty full, but again, they're barely hanging on there, I feel. So I take some of that floral wire. This is the green kind from the Dollar Tree, and I tie that around the wreath form so that I can get started. And since it's green, I thought it would blend in well with this fern, and I could just kind of wrap it around to try to, you know, hold everything in place and keep it secure. It's a little bit easier said than done because you have to kind of go in between, in and out of the leaves. And so I was trying to be kind of selective which leaves that I wanted to, like, you know, kind of wire down and which ones were kind of fine on their own. Just really wanted to add some stability to this, and so I just keep that up and I wire all the way around. Now this one we're going to use one of the plastic pink flamingos as well, but this one we're also going to add a sign so you can kind of see what it looks like with a sign as well. And so as you can kind of see how I wired that along the back, kind of just all over until I get all the way around it, and then I just kind of tie it off back here in the back. Now, I still wasn't super happy with it because I found that there were some spots that did not have any, you could kind of see the wire through it. And so I did have some more pieces of the fern, and so I just kind of go through and kind of zip tie them in any holes that I saw that were super obvious. Make it a little bit fuller wreath. And then I was still not like completely sold on whether this was round enough because, you know, they kind of stick so far out. So I did go around the outer edge with some of these longer leaves and just kind of alternate, like maybe every other one, and zip tie those to the outer wreath form as well. Just because I really wanted to keep the round wreath shape and just not be super crazy. I felt it was a little wild at first, but if that's what you're going for, go for it. And I think that looks pretty good. You know, those Dollar Tree wreath or ferns are not the best quality, but they work. Now here is our little pink flamingo we're going to use for this one. For this one, I decided to try distressing it to see if I could kind of bring out some of that feather texture on this, but I left it like the existing pink color it was. I just go over with a chunky brush and some ivory paint and try to bring out that texture, kind of make it look a little distressed, a little bit more high-end. Out of the two methods, I think I preferred the pink painting, but this one turned out pretty cool too because it does bring out that texture just by distressing it with whatever color that you want to use. It just makes them look a little bit more high-end than just all pink plastic, if you know what I mean. So I do go over like the top, anywhere that I think that you're going to be able to see it. And then I just kind of wipe off the excess there with a paper towel. And I'm going to leave the beak on this one, the bright orange, the original paint, and the original eye on there. Kind of leaving him how he came. Now, this is how I decided to attach this one. I decided twine. So wasn't sure if this would be strong enough to hold up on my front door because I was going to use hot glue to glue this on. So I decided to use a little burlap ribbon to try to reinforce it a little bit. So I glue the twine to the back with hot glue. And then I'm going to hot glue burlap over to kind of make a little patch to cover the whole thing. And it was fine. It held up fine, even outside here in Florida. And I just glue that one to the back, and then we can just use that to tie that on the wreath form. And this method was easier than the wire one that I used in the first wreath. But, you know, the wire one might be a little bit sturdier. The great thing about that the plastic pink flamingo is that it was really thin, so it was definitely easy to poke the holes through. But I just tie this one off and knot it tightly on the back of our wreath form. It's looking super tropical, right? I love like the fern pattern with the pink flamingo. I've done a lot of pink flamingo DIYs on this channel because it is definitely one of my faves. Now I'm going to use another one of those little shelf signs from the Dollar Tree. This is the same one we used for the sign. And I'm just going to make a little sign for our wreath. And I wanted to try one of these wood burning pens. I've never used one before. I got this one on Amazon. I think I have this linked in my Amazon shop below, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if this brand is still available, but it doesn't matter which brand you get. And I'm just using that wood sign from the Dollar Tree, and I wanted to look like a wood burned sign. So as you can see, when you like put it on, it's kind of like a paint pen, kind of like a marker, you know, and it kind of looks metallic gold. And I just want to do like a welcome sign on here. It's a nice big sign. So I'm just doing cursive, welcome to our nest. I thought that would be fun with the flamingo, right? Cross my fingers because I totally did not know if this was going to work on this Dollar Tree sign. Then I go in with my heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, you could always use a blow dryer, I think, for this. I think that would get hot enough. And look at this. When you get it hot, it kind of makes it look like a little bit of a wood burn. So a fun technique that I wanted to try out, and I think it was probably a success. You know, I think you could probably use like Cricut stencils and stuff like that if you wanted it to look perfect. But I just wanted this to be kind of whimsical and fun, so I think handwriting is fine for this one. And then I left the ropes on there from the existing shelf so that I could use those to tie that to my wreath form. And that's what I'm going to do. I do kind of want like the knots to be on the front though, because I kind of like that vibe. So I string it around, pull it through, and tie it. And that is all it's going to take to attach it to the wreath form. And it's a great size because it's a large wreath form. It's a pretty big sign. It fits on there, I think, just perfectly. Kind of adjusting my fern behind it. And then I can just tie a knot in the front of each of those, and easy peasy. So here, this is another option for a pink flamingo wreath. Not quite as colorful as our first one, but I think it still turned out really fun and tropical. I did go back and distress my sun slightly because I distressed my flamingo just to give it that coastal farmhouse vibe. Because you know, if I'm making something coastal, I'm probably going to be distressing it. But this is how it looked on my front door. My little tropical fern pink flamingo wreath using all supplies from the Dollar Tree, except that wood burning pen I did get on Amazon. So I think that's really cute too. What do you guys think about this one? I think it's really fun. Okay, keeping with the front porch theme, I decided I wanted to do a rug. So I picked up a plain coir doormat from Target. They're pretty inexpensive. I think it was like maybe $8. And I wanted to do a flamingo doormat. So this is sublimation paper. And I'm going to do sublimation for this technique to try to experiment. I can sublimate a doormat. And I do have a large sublimation printer, like it prints these large images. So this is sublimation paper. I printed out nice and large. If you have a Cricut, you could probably do the same thing. I do still have this file, so I will share it below if you want to try to recreate it, because sublimation is definitely not all it's going to take. Sublimation does work on the coir, but what I've noticed with making other ones is that it fades. So basically, I'm just going to use it as a template, so I'll know how to go in and paint my own custom doormat. So it is, I do like doing it, but it's definitely not the end of the project. So I'm just using some heat safe tape to try to tape that down to the coir. Can't say it was super successful, so I decided to find anything and everything heavy that I could find on my workbench to try to keep this down and keep it still, because it's really hard to tape things to this. I've seen people make, you know, Cricut stencils and can't have the same issue. So I'm just going to go in and sublimate it with my Cricut Easy Press. I like to do 400 degrees for 1 minute on almost everything. But for this one, I thought, you know, it might need a little bit more. So I went in and did it for 2 minutes because I didn't know if it was really going to transfer to the surface. With sublimation, you have to have the right kind of materials. And I like to push the gamut sometimes and try it on things that normally that you would not be able to sublimate. So I have the hello part done, and then I also have to go over the flamingo. This is the entire doormat, so it's super large, right? And so I just do each section 400 degrees for 2 minutes. And again, the reason I increased it to 2 minutes is because I really wanted this to be as vibrant as it can be, so I'll know where to paint. Now, the ones that I've done these for like lots of different holidays before I started my channel. I don't know, this may be the second one that I've done on this channel, but this is how it turned out. So you can see the black parts kind of turned out really good, right? I'm going to spray it with just some spray acrylic to try to make the colors a little bit more vibrant, and that does work for the black, but the pink really did not go well on there. I mean, I can see where I need to paint, but as you can see, it's super faded. But, you know, I love these coir doormats, and so I always like to have a different one for every holiday. So I thought we would DIY a flamingo one just for summer. So I'm just using my paint pens. These are my penguin paint pens that I got on Amazon. I have these available in my shop below. If you need some paint pens in lots of colors, you can try these out. I'm a big fan. And so I kind of picked out a pink one, and I can see exactly where I need to paint for this. And I just thought that this was a little bit easier than using stencils, but you could totally use stencils as well with this design. I'm going to share it as a PNG. If you want me to convert it to an SVG, if you're going to use your Cricut to make a stencil, just let me know and I can totally do that and add that file as well. Now for the legs, I chose orange, and I'm just going to paint them straight on there. What I've noticed though with the other doormats that I've made is once I paint them with the paint pens, they do hold up. They don't really fade, even in this crazy Florida weather. Now I want Hello Summer to pop as well, so I use a black paint pen and go all over. I do find that when I'm painting on this rough surface like this, I do kind of have to restart my paint pen a little bit here and there to keep it flowing. But it's just going to say Hello Summer in this black cursive font, and I think this is so fun. It's going to look really great with my pink flamingo wreath from my front door. And I need to put this out with my new wreath too. So that looks pretty good. Just touching it up here and there. And there's our little Hello Summer doormat. Perfect for the pink flamingo theme. And if you get a blank one like this, you can kind of do whatever you want. And Home Depot has... they actually have a blank doormat that you can sublimate on, but it's not that coir, and I really like the coir doormat. I find that they work well. They get things off of people's feet before they come in to my house. Now, this is just a quick, easy little DIY. I found this great little palm tree at Goodwill. Can you believe it? Look, really like $50, and I think I got it for like $2. So, great deal. But I wanted it to have a little flamingo touch, and so I got some of these little paper cutouts. These are the smaller pink flamingos, and they're kind of like on strings like this, but they're still like completely intact, right? So I'm just going to pull one off the party decoration, and it's going to fit, I think, perfectly just on the front of the pot. It's just going to bring another like little pink flamingo touch to my front porch, and I thought this would look great next to my front door. I have like a little tropical table there, and I'm just gonna Mod Podge this on. I think that will be kind of temporary. I think I could probably take it off if I wanted to, so I just do a thin coat of Mod Podge on the front of my Goodwill Find pot here, and then lay my little flamingo straight on top, flattening that out. And then I also go over the top of it to seal that down. And this actually held up quite well. I was a little worried about using paper outside with this, but as long as you seal it enough, I think you're going to be okay. So I went over it with like, I think 3 nice thick coats of Mod Podge all over the front of this pot. Just added a little flamingo to the front. So, you know, you can totally DIY things like this with items from the Dollar Tree, even if you don't have a printer or a Cricut. And I think this is so tropical and pretty. This is how it looks sitting on my front porch. And it looks great with my little tropical table. And super easy. You never know what you're going to find at Goodwill. Sometimes I think their prices are really high. We have 2 Goodwill stores, and one of them, where I got this one, I never find anything there because they're too high. But every now and then you get lucky, right? So we're going to move on to a flamingo tier tray. I want to give you some smaller flamingo DIY ideas. They have these little tinsel flamingos every year. I'm not a fan of the tinsel, and I didn't really want to wrap it, but I thought maybe we could update the colors a little bit, make it look a little less sparkly. And so I just mixed some red and white together, just some chalk paint. Doesn't have to be chalk paint. I just wanted something to kind of dry with more of a matte finish, because it's got that, you know, really super sparkly, like almost like glittery effect in there. And I just kind of want it to be one color. And I love these little flamingos. I always try to pick them up, even though I'm not a fan of the tinsel ones. But I peeled off the little googly eyes on this one as well. And I'm just painting the pink part, this nice like medium pink color. And that did take away that sparkle. You can also see the sparkle like in the little orange legs. And I really wasn't going for that feel for my little flamingo tier tray. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use this pumpkin color was the color I used. It doesn't have to be chalk paint, but that is what I had. And I'm going to go over the legs. It's a perfect little leg color for a flamingo and paint that as well. So wanted to give you an idea of how you kind of update these a little bit without having to remake the whole thing, but I'm still going to get that fun flamingo vibe. And then I kind of want the orange to be on the beak on this one. So I'm going to, you know, instead of just making it all black like it was before, I use that same color that we used on the legs for part of the flamingo beak. And I'm just not really going to do googly eyes on this. I just don't think it's really necessary. And the only part I still have that's still sparkly is the black tip to the beak. So I just go over that with some black paint too. And it turned out pretty cute. Just a simple little makeover to this guy. And he is ready for my tier tray. The next DIY, I found these cute little pink flamingo flip-flops from the Dollar Tree. I got a small kid size. It's going to fit well on my tier tray, I think. I just removed the little plastic parts. I think that makes them look a little bit cheap. Then kind of tone down the plastic texture of the flip-flop, make it a little bit more matte finish. I do go over them with just a little bit of matte Mod Podge, totally optional. This is me being extra. And then I'm going to replace the little flip-flop parts with some Dollar Tree decorative nautical rope there. I think that's going to look nice, coastal, and beachy and fun. But I did go over it with several coats of the Mod Podge to kind of take down that plastic shiny look. So this is just a matter of getting this to fit. I used kind of the original ones for reference, so I'll know about how long to make at least one side of it, right? So I'm just going to string that through from the front, through the hole, like that. And then string it through one side, and then I'll just kind of have to get creative for the other side. So just trying to keep your rope, I taped this one just to make it easier, just because, you know, it's kind of a thicker rope and there's not much of a hole there. And so I do the same thing here on the other side. I take a piece and string that in. And then I just hot glue it here since there's not enough room for another piece of rope to go through there. But it's still going to give you that fun little flip-flop feel. And I love the little pink flamingos and hearts all over. I think that's super cute. So just kind of, you know, making those kind of look like they're arched the right way. And we're going to do the second one the same. I just tape each end of the rope first just to make sure that it doesn't fray. It makes it easier definitely to feed it through. And it's so wide that the tension's going to kind of keep it in there. You didn't have to knot it or anything like that or secure it too much. But I do the same thing here on this side, and we have two little flip-flops. Now, I thought I kind of want to make sure that they stay together, so I do hot glue them to each other just to kind of make it one piece. Now, the next DIY for $1, I found this cute little pink flamingo ice pack at Dollar General, so even cheaper than the Dollar Tree. And when I'm looking for something for a tier tray, I look for anything and everything with a shape of a pink flamingo, and that's why I chose this ice pack. First, I was going to use some of that brown rope from the Dollar Tree, but I realized that was way too thick. It was never going to work. So I used this tiny like jute twine from the Dollar Tree, and I just started it at the beak with a little bit of hot glue and winding that around. And you know, it is thin jute twine, so it is definitely going to take a ton of winding to cover this up, but I thought it would be really cute if I had like just this little jute wrapped flamingo. So I'm going to speed this way up, but as you can see, it can go around all of those little flexible joints so fast. And I go around whatever parts I can easily wrap the first time, just moving my way down the flamingo. Whenever you get to the end, like a foot or something like that, a little hot glue is going to help keep that in place. But put on a good song or a YouTube video or something, because it's going to take you a while to wind this if you're able to find one of these. But I thought it was super fun, even though it was a little bit time consuming with all of that wrapping. That's why I usually use rope for these kind of projects instead of the jute twine. So I'm going to go ahead and do the tail part now. I did the feet before. And I'm just trying to cover up as much of the pink as I can with my initial wrap of this. But there are some like awkward areas that you can still see that I can't really get to real easily. And I try to fill them in the best that I can, but it does take a little hot glue here and there to kind of keep them in place. And then I switch directions, and that definitely helps fill up some of the pink parts. And I just keep wrapping and wrapping, filling in the ends as well until I can't see any more pink. And this was time consuming, but I think it turned out really cool. Once I got it all wound, we'll slow it down here. I'm going to burn off all the fuzzies with just a lighter, and you can kind of see how cool this actually turned out, wrapping it with some of the jute twine from the Dollar Tree. Now, this was a cute little flamingo dish that I found at Dollar Tree. We're going to have to DIY that in a second, but I also found a flamingo puzzle. This was like in the kids' like art section, and it's one of these just little wood pop-out flamingo puzzles. I was kind of surprised how many pieces were actually in this, but basically you just pop all the little wood pieces out. You also have to like, you know, pop out the little tabs. And there are very detailed directions here to put this together. And you know your girl is gonna like follow directions, because that's what we do, right? So I followed my directions, and this was really actually fun to put together. I don't think I ever put one of these together before. And it was really cute, actually, I think, to be from the Dollar Tree. So definitely don't be afraid to check out like the kids aisle, the kids crafting stuff, because sometimes they have some cool stuff like this one. So we're going to put this together. I decided to assemble mine before I'm going to paint it, because I was afraid the paint would make it thicker and the pieces maybe would not fit together like they're supposed to. So I'm just putting this together all wood, and then I'll show you. I do end up like painting or staining it, And I did find a technique that actually worked pretty well for this. Kind of an experiment. But it kind of stays together by friction. Most of the pieces were cut pretty well. You might need to use a little hot glue here and there if you find that things don't stick. I use a little wood glue here at the end just to make sure that this isn't going to fall apart on me. And the only pieces that I really have left are some of the base pieces. It does come with a little base to stand it up, which is going to be helpful for my tier tray. But it is a great height. I'm going to actually, I think, put this on the top of this tier tray. So here is the little base with some little palm fronds, tropical things sticking out and about. And it's probably easier than it looks putting this together, but it was fun. So there is our little puzzled pink flamingo, right? But I wanted it to be pink. So I didn't think the base was going to be strong enough. So the first thing I do is just glue it to a wood block. This is one of those Jenga blocks from Five Below, which I never made it there this year. I wonder if they still have some. Now this is my DIY paint. What I did was I took pink acrylic paint, put it in a spray bottle, half and half with water, and then I just sprayed. That way I can get in like all the nooks and crannies of the puzzle, and because there's no way you're going to be able to paint this with a brush. And it actually worked out pretty well. So I just stained it all over and then gave it a dry with my heat gun. It gives you that like light wood stain. And so once I got it dry, I do go over it with another coat of my DIY, I guess, spray paint. And that worked well. Okay, the next couple items, I found a little pink tropical plant from Target Dollar Spot. And then I also found a dancing flamingo, one of those little light activated ones at Dollar Tree. Now, I didn't want it to look like a plastic kid's toy, so I'm going to go around the entire base of this and just fill it in with some of that reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree. I was attaching it with school glue because I was trying not to melt like the little plastic part. And it didn't stick great. I did go back with like some spray adhesive from Dollar Tree as well to try to make it kind of keep its shape. Basically, I just want to kind of disguise the plastic there at the bottom. And then that kind of made it wet enough where I could add some more on there. And then I didn't really want it to look super cheap like plastic, right? So to take away a little bit of the sheen, it helps a little bit to do this. I just did a little matte Mod Podge over my dancing flamingo, and that's just me probably being extra, but I still think he turned out cute. The next item is one of the solar light flamingos. I had to test it to see if it worked. I just basically took it off the solar light stake, and then I thought we would make a little base for it to stand on. It'd be perfect for the tier tray. Now, I had one of those little chunky wood circles from the Dollar Tree that I'd used on a previous project that I just painted gray. It's going to match my galvanized metal tier tray. So I just hot glue that to the bottom and then go around and just kind of hot glue all around to kind of make a texture like water. Now, while that sets up a little bit, I found these little pink flamingo boxes at the Dollar Tree too, and I don't have to do anything to them. They are perfect and ready to go. Now, with the water, I let the glue set up, and I'm going to go over that base with blue to kind of make it look like water and kind of paint all over. Now, I did that so it would kind of like look like ripples on the top of the water, that the flamingo was like out sitting in the water. I thought that'd be a fun idea, and it would also serve the purpose to make it like, you know, stand up on its own. I don't know how well like my light inside will charge this, but it's still cute. Cute project for a DIY, and I do go over it with some lighter blues just to kind of make the water look a little bit more realistic, but just a fun, easy little pink flamingo DIY. I try to buy anything and everything pink flamingo at the Dollar Tree. And just like the other one, I go over it with some of the matte Mod Podge just to kind of tone down the plastic feel a little bit. This year, they also have the little light up pink flamingos that switch on that I used for some of my Christmas videos and stuff like that. I was able to find some more of those the other day. They're so cute. They just have a switch that turns them on, and they're kind of like the material of like a rubber ducky or something like that. They always had them at the checkout when I found them at the Dollar Tree. They're super cute. So I just kind of distressed mine with a little bit different shades of pink just to make it look a little bit better. I distressed my water a little bit too. We're just going for a fun little art piece here. I think the paint in the Mod Podge does help things have a little bit more texture, look a little bit less like a toy. They also have these great pink flamingo, I guess gold flamingo, napkins at the Dollar Tree. And this tier tray was going on my kitchen table, so this is going to be perfect to sit there. I'm also going to use my little Adirondack ketchup and mustard holder that I got at the Target Dollar Spot to hold my salt and pepper shakers. And then I wanted to do a wood bead garland. So I got wood beads on Amazon. These are just the plain ones, and we're going to paint them ourselves and kind of do a custom bright summery wood bead garland with a flamingo theme. So just mixing some colors together, some pinks and oranges. I found a little pink flamingo lip gloss from the Dollar Tree that I thought would be perfect for the end of a wood bead garland. And so I like to use those little skewers when I paint these. But you know, Dollar Tree has some great painted wood beads now where you don't have to paint them yourself, but you might not be able to find them in custom colors like this if you wanted to do your own thing. But these wood beads I did kind of in that same salmon color that little pink flamingo lip gloss is on. But I also wanted bright pink for like all the pink flamingo stuff that we have going on that tier tray. So I do some of them in this color. I think this is called like pink parfait. And the skewers definitely help. Painting these is not always my favorite thing, but we're going to make it work. Now, I also painted the bottom of the lip gloss there, that same color, just because I think it was white before. So I was just kind of trying to show you that as well. But I also want to add like green tropical leaves and stuff like that on here for the pink flamingo theme. So I wanted some dark green as well. So I mixed some green, some black together to give me a nice dark green color. And we're going to do some of them in the green as well. And this is going to be a really cute little flamingo theme wood bead garland. I think it's going to be the perfect touch for this tier tray. I used to make a lot more of these wood bead garlands than I do anymore. I really love how they turned out. So there's our little flamingo. I think that this is ready to start putting it together. I just used some Dollar Tree twine and a large needle, and I just start stringing them into a pattern. I do want to use some natural wood in there too. And once I, pick a pattern, I just keep repeating that pattern all the way down till I think it is long enough and I've used all of my painted beads. And I think those colors look so pretty together. Perfect for summer. So I hot glue the little lip gloss to the end. He has a little crown, so it gave me the perfect place to hot glue that to my final wood bead. And then I just take that same twine, wrap it around all four of my fingers till it's thick enough, and tie that to the other end. We're gonna make a really easy little DIY tassel. Don't be afraid to make these. They're actually pretty easy. I know I'm totally not working where you can see me, but all I did was just tie that off to the end and then wrap around the top to do the top part of the tassel. Put my needle back on there and string it through to finish that off. Then cut the tassel, trimming it down to size however long that you want it. And that was it. The next thing we're going to do is just a quick little flamingo sign. Kind of wanted to do a custom color on this one too. So I mixed pink and orange together because I kind of wanted that fun salmon color that we used before. And this is just a Dollar Tree wood sign. This is kind of one of the chunkier ones. It's got this great detail around the sides, and I think it's going to be the perfect size for a little sign for our flamingo tier tray. So we just kind of paint that all over. I want to use some of those rub-on transfers They seem to have these all the time for summer. They have pink flamingos on there, so I thought this would be really easy DIY. I'm going to cut out the big gold pink flamingo and then also the words Hello Summer here at the top. And these are those kind that you just peel and then you have to rub off. I'm using one of those little Cricut scrapers and pull that off. And I think that metallic gold against that beautiful like coral salmon color is so pretty. And I do the same thing there with the flamingo. Now I thought it was a little bit more orange than pink. So I do go back with pink and I am just going to do the edges with pink just to kind of bring out, you know, and more color and kind of make it look a little bit framed. That way it'll kind of go with those wood beads that we just made where we have like that coral color, but we also have like a brighter pink color as well. And I'm not taping it off or anything. I just kind of go around. You can kind of feel where your edges are there. And then to make it stand up, I'm just going to glue a wood block to the back and we're going to have a quick, easy little flamingo sign. And I love that. I use a combination of wood glue and hot glue and just glue that to the back and it stands up on its own, just like that. Now, I couldn't figure out how to make this stand up where you could see it. So I took some of those little Dollar Tree blocks and I'm going to make kind of like a little fence or something to go behind it just by gluing those together because I wanted everybody to be able to see this cute little flamingo on my tier tray. And if I laid it down, it has sides on my tier tray. I didn't think you were going to be able to see it. So I just hot glue my little pink flamingo to the front of those wood blocks. And even though that's not what I really wanted to do with it, it did work. And we'll kind of disguise that with some ferns and stuff like that when we go to fill in and decorate it. And these are the ferns that we used on the wreath. I'm just going to cut down pieces just by cutting these off. And we're just going to use this for filler. It's a perfect filler for a pink flamingo tier tray. And of course, we have to have some flowers too. So I also picked out just some pink flowers from the Dollar Tree. These are the dahlias, and I think the colors are perfect. Now, this is the tier tray that we're going to decorate here. My 3-tier galvanized metal tier tray. And look how cute that little puzzle turned out. I think he is the star of the show. We're going to put him on top. But I also really love the twine ice pack. I don't think anybody would know that that was actually an ice pack underneath it. And our little flamingo, the little tray, it's so cute. I've only seen that a couple times at the Dollar Tree, but I think it's really beautiful. And then I'll just fill that up with some some fronds of the fern here and there, a little pink flower here and there, until we get the top of this nice and full. Now for the second tier, we're going to go in with our little dancing flamingo and that little pink tropical plant that I got at the Target dollar spot, a little flamingo box. I am going to put some wood blocks underneath of it just to stand it up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. And here is the little solar light flamingo that we DIY'd and our little wood bead garland. So cute. I thought we would string these here. It's not a super long one, but kind of hanging off the side so you can see that cute little flamingo there at the end. I love that. It's actually a lip gloss, so that's super funny. And then we'll go in and use filler on this tier as well, filling it in with some of the fern, some of the pink flowers, and I think we'll make this look nice and tropical. Now, this is the largest area down here, so we're going to put our little flip-flops. They are perfect size. They'll stand up on their own just by friction. Our little tinsel flamingo that we gave just a quick little paint makeover. I'm just going to use a little wood sign that I have just to kind of stand up my little flamingo napkins so that you can see them, but they're still accessible here on my kitchen table. Our little Hello Summer sign that we just DIY'd, and my little Adirondack chair that I'm going to use for my salt and pepper. It's going to go with that tropical summer vibe. And then just fill in the rest of the area with the ferns and the pink flowers from Dollar Tree. This was so easy to put together, this pink flamingo tier tray, and I hope I gave you some crafting ideas with this. And this is how this one turned out. I think it's so cute. Again, whenever I see a pink flamingo at Dollar Tree or Dollar Spot, you know your girl's gonna grab it because I have a thing for pink flamingos. I admit it. They're like so cute. They're my favorite. And this is how it looks kind of all together. I do have a video where I kind of go around and kind of show you a little bit more details. Hey guys, I wanted to tell you that I've introduced memberships here at Crafty Beach for $4.99 a month. You're going to get early access to my videos and other perks as well. It's just a way to support me here on YouTube and help me keep these videos going. And I'm going to give a huge Crafty Beach thank you to the following members. We have 10 members now. So a huge thank you to Karen O'Haron, Coastal Couple, Pamela Bergeron, I Am Mojo Jojo, Mary Banks, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Stacy Gravatt, and Sandra Ray. Thank you so much for supporting my channel here at Crafty Beach. And now it's time for the final reveal. Thank you for watching. Comment your favorite pink flamingo DIY below, or just come say hello in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. Enjoy!
You know it still hurts a little bit, but not that much. 'Cause if you want somebody else, who am I to judge? I've been thinking about you all the time, but that's alright. I'm starting to get used to it, think I'll survive. I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the to do. I'm just staring at my walls and talking to myself. Now and then I'll try to laugh, but I'll cry a bit as well. I was never any good at being away from you. I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the if you want somebody else, who am I to judge? I met you in the summer, when you left it was cold. Said we loved one another, guess that we were wrong. I met you in the summer, our love was out of control. I've been going crazy without you, I'm so alone. I met you in the
Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to watch more Crafty Beach, YouTube thinks you might enjoy this video right here.